People, welcome to Blu UKJazz Dance. One of the key things I want to share with you, that dancing improves people's communication skills. And communications, remember, is writing, is oral, is performance, is presentations, your body language, is self-expression. It's important that people understand that. And one of the key things I want to share with it, a negative incident arose for me as a person who, as a dancer, I came down with sepsis and it tapped my immune system. Immediately what happened, people know that identified to individuals, I lost my coherency, I lost my communication skills in an unprecedented way. I lost my confidence to communicate because I couldn't understand what people were saying. Basically, when I got sepsis, it took me back to being like 8 years old. Amazing story, I can't tell anybody. The things I learned at university, boom, I couldn't do anymore. I could build websites, etc. I did a foundational degree to get into university to do business management, arts management, administration. And what happened was, latter stages of my degree, I've said it before, I got sepsis. Well, at that time, what happened was, it's like automatically I've been transported back to the age of 8 years old. Incredible story. And these are some of the things that happened to me. I wouldn't dare show you the full pictures, but these are some of the pictures. I showed people the illnesses because my immune system went down. And what I wanted to share with individuals was the irony of my situation. What dance means to me, at the age of 8 years old, I created this character called The Adventures of the Swing Kid, which was to improve my reading, was to improve my writing on the spot, because there's some of the key things in school. We had to read on the spot. We had to write something and then read it out. Then, for example, in drama, we had plays, sketches that we did. We were given a book with characters and we had to read out them characters because I couldn't read well. And I was anxious 24/7 in doing what I was doing. That was created by the school system itself because I'd been labelled as a person who was a slow learner and I was written off. Secondly, people used to laugh at me because of the way I used to pronunciate words. That was part of me having dyslexia challenges. But secondly was because I learned the syntax of my parents. My dad was Jamaican, mum Grenadian. They didn't speak the Queen's English. They both spoke the Creole. My dad was Jamaican, mum's Grenadian. So I'd learned the syntax, how to speak in the way that they spoke. So they didn't pronounce words in the correct way. So that's what I learned. And that's what happens to a child in the 0 to 6 years. To pick up the way that their parents speak is what happens. And I picked up that. People used to laugh at me 24/7. So I stopped speaking in the school as an individual. Anyway, cut long story short, the irony of my situation, from 8 years old, I decided to create a character to improve my communication skills, my performance skills, my self-esteem, my confidence, and to get over the humiliation. And the best thing I could have done was performance, because performance, as a dancer, I created my own play, I composed music, I choreographed everything, and I did it from a perspective of telling a story and demonstrating people the social dances in my community and how I developed them into a jazz dance style, a soft shoe shuffle dance style from watching musicals from my character scene called John Bubbles. What happened, because I had to do all that, my communication skills improved twice overnight, basically, because to stand up and speak in front of a big crowd, you take courage, and I did that in Grenada first, and I did it in the UK. And I didn't know the significance of it then. It very much showed I had courage. It very much was a tool a vehicle. Dancing became an amazing vehicle for me to teach people. My communication skills triple-fold. But I didn't know the reason why. Over the last few years, last 2 decades, I started to do research, and there's overwhelming research that tells you how dancing improves people's communication skills because of the nature of the activities and what it does to the brain. So a guy said recently, I've seen it, I think he talked about, I'm going to tell you about the nerd developments behind dance, and I'm going to not share with you, but I'm going to share with you. If you go on the web, you'll find information, TEDx, TEDMed, and other overwhelming information, overwhelming academic research that talks about what dance does, because dance is a communication tool, and 58% of communication, non-verbal communication, is body language, 35% is self-expression, 7% is words as an individual. And I found over the years, through being involved in dance, through teaching dance, through coaching, mentoring, through interactions, through activities in dance, my coherency improved, my understanding of how people speak and what they want me to do has improved. Now, what happened was, when I had septus, I lost the ability to understand. I lost the ability to write. I lost the ability to read. And that was for years. People need to understand. I had to go to my sisters and my friends to ask, you know, I had a letter, can you help me do this? They couldn't believe it. It was an incredible story, what I'm telling you. But what happened was I documented it. And I say to people, if you go to look at a video, I'll direct people to do, it's called Manchester Creatives. In there is when I first got septus in 2010. You can tell the difference between me speaking in 2010 and the difference in 2017. So it took from 2010 to 2017 to just get anywhere close to my basic coherency back. It's an incredible story for me to tell individuals. I believed I would be able to get it back. Individuals just assumed it was my dyslexia, which was disheartening, because dyslexia doesn't mean a person is incoherent. They have problems reading and writing. It doesn't mean that they're incoherent. Incoherence is part of anybody growing up. Dyslexia find it hard at first, but like anybody else, they train themselves to be coherent, which I'm showing now. And it's important for me to share with you the information behind it, because what happened was, for many years, people character assassinated me as a person that was dumb because of the way I was speaking. But I identified to individuals that had two illnesses, which were septus and carbon monoxide poisoning. They both affect your coherency. And coherency, losing your coherency, is a serious illness people really need to understand. And to get it back, there is ways to get it back. Like anything, the brain is a muscle. Coherency is something that you nurture, you cultivate, you develop from small seeds. And that's what I did. I used the arts as that vehicle, and I used dance as the number one vehicle, because dance, social dancing particularly, because it brings you into social interactions with people. So every day you're just engaging with people in general. But behind the scenes as an individual, also I was doing a lot of work to bring myself back, through creating my own plays, through talking to myself in my home, through self-healing, through talking. My chakra is a voice. The voice box is a chakra which people don't know, and it's important that as an individual I recognize it's important to be coherent, be able to tell, be a friend, be a doctor, particularly people are helping you. It's important to be able to be coherent in getting information from them or sharing with people the symptoms that you're going through, because I didn't have support from anybody to bring myself back, to bring my coherency back. And I can't tell anybody how that made me feel. But what happened was I used dance as a tool, social dancing as a tool. And what I want to share with people, I went through a very difficult time during my illness. And the illness, it wasn't the illness that made it worse. It was how people treated me. So basically I created this program which is called Dance and Health Movement. And I talk a lot about it. I talked about how I use dance and movement as a way to bring back my coherency, but to keep me healthy, to keep me happy, and to keep me optimistic. Because a lot of people are going through illnesses right now. They're going through dementia, people going through cancer. My brother had a stroke, and I told him, you've got to keep dancing, because he lost his coherency, his abilities. But people can bring themselves back to be able to speak from stroke. And I wanted him to understand that, and other people. But people don't know the knowledge, or they don't have a framework or a place where they can do that. And what happens is dance, automatically, the first thing that happens when you're ill, you've got to keep yourself optimistic and hopeful. And that's what dance does. It gives you a focus, it engages you in social activities. So I very much encourage social dancing. But behind it, people do exercises, they do certain fitness, and they do things to keep themselves in health. That's what a dancer does to enable them to do social dancing. That's what some people don't know. If you do social dancing and don't do some form of exercise, you can injure yourself. It's a known fact. But people don't know that's what happens. People don't know behind the scenes what dancers do, social dancers do. They practice at home, yeah, and which develops the bone density, which develops the muscle groups, that develops the cardio, to able to do the self-expressive moves they want to do. And the Blu UKJazz dance, just give you insight into myself.